you're talking about that feeling of there are all these years where you're saying, hey, I'm Tracee Ellis Ross. I know I'm really good. And then there's that moment. Well, hold on. Maybe you weren't saying that. I was going around saying, hey, I'm Tracee Ellis Ross. I'm really good.
I'm really good.
People would say, I think you're mentally ill. And there's some gender confusion. But no, I could see there are years where you think you have something to offer, and it seems like that part takes forever. But then
you look back.
Then you look back later on, and it all kind of happened the way maybe was going to happen. I don't know. Maybe that's too nice a view of it.
I don't know. I mean, the thing that I find fascinating is how long it felt while it was happening, and when you look back, how fast it was.
Mm-hmm.
Because, when you're 51, like I remember as a kid that 3 months for summer break seemed like an eternity.
Oh my God, yeah.
It was like 3 months? Like, what am I going to do for 3 months? And then there was like no plan, and it was like horrible. And now like 3 months is such a short amount of time.
Right.
And so there's a sense of that. Like even during the pandemic, it felt like an eternity. And now time is just skipping along, and everyone has COVID again. That's great.
But talk to kids too. I mean, it felt like an eternity to us, and we're grown-ass adults.
Mm-hmm.
I think for kids,
Nightmare.
that felt like
it was their lifetime.
15 years.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to, it was when you could still go back, you could start to go back to a restaurant, and people were in different sections, but if you sat outside, but you didn't have to wear a mask. And I remember going to this one restaurant, and the waitress coming out, and she was very young. She was about, I don't know, maybe she was like 20, 21, and she seemed really down. And I was asking her, what's the problem? And she said, well, I really love music, and I'll never see a live concert again.
Oh.
And she thought
it was
that
forever.
this was the end, that this was forever, because at her age, it did feel like, well, that's it. And I was saying, no. Let me tell you something.
You'll be back.
It's coming back. This will happen. It's going to reappear. But her perspective was, this will not happen again.
Which I think is, I do think I didn't walk around thinking, what did you say, that I was good? What was it? Tracee Ellis Ross, and I'm good?
You must have known that you had something really good to offer. No?
I hoped I did.
Huh.
And I think it took me a long time to realize that I did. I knew I was something, but I didn't know what I had to, you know what I mean?
Sure.
I mean, you have to have a certain amount of confidence to lean into this business. But I think a lot of the things and the roadblocks that I hit gave me enough doubt that it was like, am I nuts here? And then now, you look back, I don't know. I mean, it's such an interesting thing, because I don't know that I believe it every day now.
Right.
I know who I am as a person. I know who, I'm like my worth as a human being. But I think that's why, like, even doing that Lucy sketch was like, I'm like, I hadn't acted since I finished Candy Cane Lane last March. So almost a year, strikes, all these things. And I hadn't done that thing. And I have I have a beauty company, a beauty brand that's doing incredibly well.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a businesswoman for the last year. I do speaking engagements, and that's a big way that I pay for other parts of who I am. And I hadn't done that thing. And I got off that stage, and I was like, oh, God, I love this so much. And I went to the Governor's Awards this year, and Mel Brooks was being honored.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed his reel with like Gene Wilder, and Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick like got up there and did Broadway singing thing. And I'm like, this is like, the stuff like lights me up. Like I get like a kid that's just like, oh my God, is that a star? And so it's definitely, it's something in me that I love. It lights me up. Whether I was good at it or not, I didn't totally know. And I don't know that I have any interest in investing in whether I'm that good at it or not, as long as I'm happy doing it.
I think there has to be doubt. I just always think there has to be.
I would prefer to be a person with a little doubt than
There
a
has to
person who
be.
has too much confidence. Some people I'm like, but what are you, you're wrong.
Yeah. But also when I watch television and I see most talking heads, they're 100% sure about everything they're saying. And most
Fascinating.
politicians are 100% sure what they're saying. And I think, can't we get back to having respect for people who say, it's difficult. This is,
Yeah.
and I find things to be, I never think things are a sure thing. Anything I'm connected with, I'm always worried. I hope it goes well.
Don't you think that leans you towards doing your best and continuing
try hard,
to try?
question it.
And also, I do think that the death of a career is when you think you know everything.
Yeah.
When you think, like when you're not teachable. I don't know, the death of a human experience. Like to stay curious and teachable is kind of the thing that keeps you growing, keeps you moving, keeps you connected to other people, keeps you being one among many and not just this singular thing.
Right.